we'll jump in. He put this out. This is like, I don't know what is going on with with Nintendo regarding Pokemon. I know there was a thing about where they were like going after they were trying to go after DHS or something because of the tweet that they put out about gotta catch 'em all. But realistically, I don't know what's going on with this, so I'm pretty much in the dark. Hopefully, this one will shine some light on everything because it's the newest one. Hopefully, it shines some light on all of it.
Go in this interview. So it's been a long time since I've done a reaction video. This is long, and it may get to the point where I'm like, oh my God, we've had too much of this woman. I've only watched half of it, but half of it is more than enough to get enough data. So there's going to be some new stuff that I'm reacting to genuinely, really? But I watched half of it and I'm like, dear sweet Lord, I didn't need to watch anymore. There was nothing that was going to redeem what I saw. So we're going to watch this. I have no idea who Dick Shu is. And I probably need some Tylenol Americans to do some research on Dick Shu because typically when people give...
Oh God, please tell me that this is not going to become a meme. For the love of all that is holy, please tell me Tylenol Americans is not going to become a thing. I really hope not. I hope it goes the route of fad and dies off really fucking quickly.
Fluff interviews. They're playing for the same team with Dick Shu. So Dick Shu and Jenny they're on the same team. You can tell it's not a hostile interview. This is a softball. They give a lot of signals to each other of, hey, we're on the same team. Hey, this is a friendly interview. This is not at all a hostile interview or something that's a real interview that we're asking hard questions. This is not even it's not Joe Rogan,
Dick Shu.
Right? This is like a, hey, come on here and we're going to softball you.
Oh, a little more than that. Well, let me start by asking you, because everybody's slightly different, why you went to law school in the first place.
Okay, this is very important.
Okay.
This is a coded message. She's asking, why did you go to law school? The way that they answer puts them in the pro-DEI or anti-DEI camp, right? Listen to her answer and listen to what motivates her. Once again, I want to be very clear. I am very against racism. I am very against anything legitimate. I think if there's a legitimate claim, bring it to court, right? Bring it to court, lock the people up. Lock the people up if it's a crime, right? If it's a criminal act, go to the police, go to law enforcement. By the way, not the university, because the university honor code system is a kangaroo court. They can convict you of stuff with like almost no due process. You're not allowed a real lawyer. It's just like people's feelings. It's a bunch of kids judging you. Like it's kangaroo court. Court.
Yeah.
Go to a real court and file a complaint. So I have severe suspicions when people are like, well, we talked to the university. Well, the university is on your side to begin with.
Well, I started the way many Asian American kids do in college, studying a handful of sciences. So I started in cellular molecular biology, and then I moved to have a concentration in computer science. And somewhere along the way, I got involved with our Asian American activist organization at the university.
Stop there.
Stop. There it is.
Gotcha, bitch.
There it is. I got involved with the activist group. Yeah, Graham, she said, like, the question was, why did you become a lawyer? And she started off with, she said, like, most Asian American kids, I started off in the sciences. She started in, like, I think she said molecular biology, and then she drilled down into computer science. And then she said, I got together with a bunch of Asian American activists. Yeah. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Stop there. What did she just say? Our Asian American activist organization. So she called it an activist organization. That's a virtue signal, because these things are not necessarily activists. Once again, I had I'll tell the story. I had a very close friend in Korea, very near and dear to me. She's an extremely intelligent woman. She's extremely capable. She's pretty based, right? Head of her sorority, head of the Asian American Society, but they just did cultural events and parties and did cool stuff and fun stuff about Asian culture. If you've lived, I live in Asia, right? I love Asia, right? I love all that stuff. That's all great, right? But she slipped in the word there, activist, right? That is not a mistake. Let me tell you right now, guys.
No,
that is
it's not.
intentional.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you get involved in like a cultural group, you actually say, you know, I got involved with an Asian American cultural group, and from there you can infer, oh, okay, it's just like reveling in your Asiatic culture. The moment you say activist, like seriously, what the fuck do I call every fucking DEI woke bullshit these days? What's the word that I say call them? You call them activists. Because the activists do one thing and one thing alone. They virtual signal the fuck out of everything, and they demand that everybody bow to their whim. And she just basically just spilled the spaghetti out of her pocket. She let the cat out of the bag. And she just telegraphed exactly what kind of lawyer she is.
It is very, 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 very intentional.
University of Michigan. It was called the University of Michigan Asian Student Coalition. And it was my work with that group that actually ended up getting me over to law school. Because what happened was we had a dispute.
So her activism got her into law school.
Yeah.
So she came in as an activist. Once again, there's nothing wrong with defending against legal stuff. But once again, that's a job for law enforcement, right? Report that to law enforcement. You should not be once again, report it, giving over any evidence, right? Law enforcement. Is it a crime? Right? Someone said they practiced the podcast. It's possible they submitted questions ahead of time.
University, there was an event at a fraternity where a group of our cohort went and they experienced some racial slurs.
She drank the fucking Kool-Aid. She was part of this coalition. She drank the Kool-Aid, and here we go. Oh, they went to a frat party and there were some racial slurs, and now she's gonna go on a fucking crusade. Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, fuck. And she's a lawyer for Nintendo.
At the frat. And our group engaged.
So they said she doesn't say what racial slur. She doesn't say what the frat was. And once again, let me remind you guys, I said this earlier, but let me say it again. One of the big things about Stop Asian Hate was they stopped that movement after people looked into the statistics. So who was it? What was it? What was said specifically, right? Now, let me be really clear. Real racism does exist. People do say racist things, right? But what exactly was it? What was the context, right? Maybe it was real, but the point is she's leading with it. It's very, very, very sus.
And so they organized a mediation between our group and the fraternity. And I remember sitting in that mediation and thinking to myself, I'm getting rings run around me at this moment.
Wait. Because someone at this fraternity supposedly said a racial slur, the university actually did a full-blown sit-down mediation between this coalition and the frats? Thinking why? Fucking why would you need to facilitate mediation for this? It sounds like I mean, I shouldn't be overly surprised universities are shit these days, and universities are nothing but stopping grounds for just bullshit virtue signaling and DEI and all, and basically, you know, cranking out graduate students that don't have a fucking clue as to how the world actually works. But what the fuck?
And
this is very non-specific. So she's giving. So this story.
Should we consider it a coincidence that Salamance's wings look like she has demon horns?
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Sab. Oh, that is some very unfortunate mural placement behind her.
is like some victim story that you'd make up in like a victim book where you're just making up a victim story, because she's not giving out specifics. She's not saying anybody's name. She's not saying who. She's not saying what. She's just saying, I felt like I had rings around me. She's talking about feelings. What do we focus on in the law? Facts over feelings. What are the facts here? I'm not hearing many facts. This is a very, once again, you have to pick these people apart. You have to pick up their lingo. You have to pick up what they do, right? It even looks like she's reading off of a script. If you look at her eyes, she looks like she's reading off a script, right? He also kind of looks like he's reading off a script as well, right? They're not looking at each other. Like, it looks like they're not looking at each other. Maybe it's just because it's like the Zoom call look, you know, it looks like it's like a really cheap Zoom call. Maybe that's it. But it almost looks like she's got like a victim script that she's reading off of.
And I don't like that feeling, and this isn't going to happen again. And right after that, I ended up chucking the science. And
it does seem like she keeps looking up here. It does seem like her eyes are like going from center to tracking up in this direction. Like she's not looking, her eyes are constantly flickering away from the camera.
Signing up for law school.
Was that a hard decision or not too hard?
Not that hard.
And what did you think of law school when you got there? Did you like it a lot, or were you
at the risk of sounding like a complete tool? I loved law school.
That's okay. There are people who love law school. I think that
I don't even.
No, there aren't. Now he's lying. Who loves law school? What are you talking about?
I think
not
kids
okay.
today know what it means when you say I was a complete tool. I was not a complete tool, but I loved law school.
Well, so how did you kind of migrate? I mean, obviously you went to law school. I assume you didn't know exactly what kind of lawyer you wanted.
And if you look at his eyes, he's looking down. Now he's doing an interview, so he may have the questions that he needs to ask, so that this one can be forgiven. Yeah, you're talking about the reflection of her glasses. I'll look again. Like him looking down. Okay, he's probably got questions written down that he's got to ask, so that one's forgivable. But I want to look at her eyes.
To be, you somehow migrated into the world of intellectual property. Tell me about how that happened.
Well, my first job was actually at a large litigation shop.
She keeps looking right. She keeps looking. Her eyes keep going right.
Well, my first job was actually at a large litigation shop.
What? Stop right there. This is a big tell. This is a huge one. And this is one of the biggest problems, is that your first job as a lawyer defines you. My first job as a lawyer, like as a real lawyer, not for summer, not for everything else, right? But as a lawyer, was with helping big corporations like Universal Studios and doing property and real estate. And that affected the way I think about things, because in property, real estate, and with big business, you work on win-win scenarios, right? You generate win-win scenarios, you generate money. I care about money and making things profitable. I'm a transactional attorney. That's what I grew up as. That's what I grew up as, from a baby lawyer to a big lawyer, right? And then I went in-house, worked with big corporations, did regulation, did compliance, did a lot of other stuff. When you start as a litigator, right? Litigation, right? It sets you in a way where your mind thinks litigate. That is the last person you want at the head of your company. Every company I worked for that was sane. Universal was sane. Their general counsel was fine. They're kind of based, actually. Kind of a Chad. But that's at least the one I dealt with back in the day. I don't know if they changed now. But point of the matter is, they care about money first. They don't care about litigation. They want to avoid litigation. This person, because she's from a litigation shop, that means they focus on litigation, not a full stack law firm. My law firm did a bunch of things. They did bankruptcy, they did property, they did litigation, they did also, they would do your divorce if you wanted to. They did a lot of stuff, right? That's kind of what we call full service, right? She was focused on litigation. That puts a specific mindset and makes you litigation crazy. That's the problem here. That's a big problem here. Let's go.
A lot of insurance was involved because it was a product liability case that had gone on for years, and of course the damage that had been done had continued.
Yeah, okay. Like, so Shizi, what you're saying is when you try to answer from memory, your eyes tend to track upwards and to the right. But watch right here. Her eyes don't, like, well, her eyes don't kind of just naturally kind of go up into the right, like, you know, when things like, okay, I'm talking, oh, I'm trying to remember something, and your eyes kind of like stay there. Her eyes are literally flicking. They're flicking to the right and then immediately returning. Like, watch here. Watch the way her eyes flick.
For years, and of course, the damage that had been done had continued over.
See that? Did you see that right there? I'll actually go slow-mo on it for you. Watch her eye. Watch carefully. Flick. And then about a second later, flick back. So it's not her eyes are shifting to the right to access memory. They're just flicking really quick, like she's looking for the prompt on the other screen.
Had continued over several decades. And so many insurance policies responded, or arguably responded, to the incident. So I spent a good chunk of my time doing complex litigation, which is really does, you know, in the big firms, having an experience like that teaches you the mechanics.
Yeah.
You know,
It's Zab, it could be if it's already been something that she has rehearsed and she's flicking her eyes to the script again to just basically take in a few words to trigger her memory of, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to say.
gives you a really good foundation for the exercise.
Because notice how frequently she's doing.
And of course, it's only litigation, and there's many kinds of law, but it does teach you the rigor, and it does teach you the technical.
She's doing it frequently.
It gives you the technical skill base. So after that, after being at Heller for about 4.5 years or so, intellectual property was hot and interesting. And if you've done, a fraud,
exactly,
or
exactly,
case, it feels very useful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Zab. It's like Fashizi said. It's like she might have like bullet points. She might have on the other screen. She might have bullet point talking points that she's constantly flicking her eyes over to remind herself of the bullet points that she's supposed to be referring to.
So she's into intellectual property litigation, right? Litigation. So part of what she's doing that really worries me, but she's setting herself up as I am a litigator who will sue people. What this does, what she's saying to the people out there, the DI, ESG people, is to waste money of the company. So what she's signaling is I am going to drain these companies' money, because all the litigation does is drain the company's money. And that's what DEI and ESG is really set up to do. It's not set up to help the company. It's actually set up to kill the company. It's like a poison pill. They plant it inside the company to kill a productive American company. When you want to kill a productive American company, a beloved company, a company like Disney that Walt raised, Walt will be ashamed of what happened today with the Disney company. You put DEI and ESG in it. You add DEI and ESG and it, without fail, kills the company. Once again, the company doesn't die because they get a lot of injection of capital. There's a lot of mysterious money that comes into them. For example, government money. Remember during COVID, a lot of money came in mysteriously.
Yep.
They got all these capital injections. That's the only way they stay up. Without that, they'd be gone, because DEI killed the productivity of those companies and they killed their business model, right? But now we're on a turn where companies no longer have those cash injections, where DEI is being exposed. Shout out to Kirsha. She's done the Lord's work on this. And she's also talked about how they're trying to convert it to Bridge, and we can't let it be converted to something else or let the name change. Kirsha's done a great job on that.
But at the same time, not particularly keyed into the times or the environment. And at that time, patent litigation was hot. Into what we used to call at the time soft intellectual property, copyrights and trademarks were just fun and interesting because they really involved people's creativity. So I came to Townsend, as you probably know, in 1996. And started working right away on mainly soft IP cases to begin with. I developed a preliminary injunction practice.
A preliminary injunction practice. This means she got used to quickly shutting people down. That's exactly the type of thing you'd file against the modding community or anybody else. So she pretty much perfected to stop the little guy, to stop people right away with IP, et cetera. Now, once again, sometimes these things are important, but I'm very concerned that this is the methods that she's looking at, because how many people have gotten a cease and desist, have gotten an injunction, have gotten some sort of court order out of nowhere, right? For what? Right? With no due process, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
Very concerning. Very concerning. But she talks about guarding creativity with preliminary injunctions. That's not what you're talking about. We're talking about is killing creativity, because the real creativity are the people you're shutting down, like Pow World, like the modders. That's the real creativity.
Yes.
Your creativity is dead at the Pokemon Company International, Kabushiki Kaisha Pokemon, right? You killed it. Officer Jenny killed it. People like Officer Jenny around the world are killing creativity. They hate creativity. They hate fun. They hate fans. They hate you, right? We can't let the people that hate win, right? We are the lovers. We're the people that love Pokemon. We care about Pokemon. And we got to save Pokemon. We got to save Pikachu. Pikachu's in trouble right now, guys. Pikachu's in deep trouble, right?
Save Pikachu!
Like Giovanni's got him, you know? But we can save Pikachu. We can save Pikachu. We can redeem Pikachu. We can do it. We got to do it right. We got to go to the Japanese, the base Japanese, because they'll listen to us. There's some people out there, I guarantee you, there are some base Chads in Japan that'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Okay, you needed Eli in there for that, Andrew. You needed Eli in there for a moment to go, what the fuck are you doing? No clue how the hell that sounded just now, but
to Officer Jenny over here, and they will correct her, right? If she tries to mouth off to some of these Japanese people, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to take this Karening from this boba liberal who's trying to push DEI. They will not take that. I have many people I know in Japan, and so I know some people that they know people in Japan. That's cool. I know people in Japan as well, right? You know, once again, I've been there many, many times. I love Japan. I love the country. They're still very, very, very old school in the way they do things, right? In their style.
Yes,
and once
they
again, it's their
are.
culture. How can we say we're better than that? And that's the horrible thing about DEI. DEI says they're better than Japan. DEI thinks the DEI way is better than the Japanese way. You don't get to say that.
yeah, DEI is going to find out real fucking quick that Japan don't play that way. Japan holds on to their culture extremely tightly. Like they will hold on to their culture for dear life. And if DEI tries to muscle its way in, Japan will basically samurai chop them into about 1 million pieces.
You're a Japanese company. Follow an order, follow a hierarchy, stand in line, right? And you know, once again, these people all talk, they act tough about, oh, I love culture, oh, I love this and that. He wouldn't make it a day. Officer Jenny wouldn't make it a day in a Japanese company, a Korean company, or a Chinese company. I know I know many female lawyers over here, right? I'm familiar with them. They don't act like Officer Jenny. She would not cut it in Asia at all, period. I can tell you that right now, as someone in Asia, right?
We were the plaintiff on our IP infringement cases, on the small ones, you know, kind of what we would call the anti-piracy cases.
Mhm.
But these were large copyright cases,
Mhm.
and they were.
Oh, so she gets excited about large copyright cases. She's loves them. She is litigation hungry for large copyright cases.
One of them was still ongoing when I went in-house. So I had a soft transition. I was running the litigation, only running it from inside the company as opposed to from the law firm. So that was.
So this is the point. She had no transactional experience. This woman is unqualified for her job. I'm gonna tell you right now, as a person who's worked in it, she's unqualified for her job. Let me say this the third time. She's unqualified for her job.
Boy.
Whoever hired this woman should be looked into. Japanese companies are looking at this. Who hired this woman? Why did they hire somebody who's unqualified? A general counsel should have transactional experience. If they do not, they're unqualified for the job.
I just started moving into more and more areas. Then in 2005, we were preparing to launch the PlayStation Network, which of course is gigantic today, but at that time we were putting together the legal framework for that. So I got tasked with that. And that really was an opportunity to conduct interdisciplinary examinations and to understand how the entire business fit together, because the company had never been a retailer before. And that was
Yes, Sato, that's what it looks like.
When you took that job at Sony, you'd obviously end up spending a lot of time there. Did you have an idea of how long you were going to stay there? Did you think you would stay as long as you did? Or
No, Shadow, I think what legal mindset was referring to by transactional experience, I could be mistaken. The impression that I got is basically that you gain experience in other fields within law. You know, where she's only had her experience with litigation, that has been her fixture. Transactional experience would get you experience in other facets of law, and she did not have that transactional experience. At least that is how I am understanding it. I could be mistaken, but that is how I am understanding it. And so she's still stuck in litigation mindset. She's not, she's not had these other legal facet, or these other legal processes, mindsets to work with, to get out of that litigation mindset.
I'm there. Did you have an idea of how long you were going to stay there? Did you think you would stay as long as you did, or what was your plan?
No. Prior to that, my stints, I'd been 4 years at Heller.
At least for contracts.
And then 4
Okay,
years
Doug.
at Townsend. Right. And I think the first.
Okay, so I was partially right. She didn't get any experience in transactional law, which is another facet of legality, and she basically only has litigation. She only has experience in litigation. She has no experience in other facets of the law, and in this case, particularly transactional law, that she has no experience in, and she got put into a position of practicing transactional law when she really doesn't know about it.
Time I looked up and looked at the calendar at Sony, I was 10 years in, and I was like, oh, whoops.
Those 10 years were some of the worst 10 years at Sony, and they were the 10 years where DEI came in. Just saying. Just a little comment there.
How was it working for a Japanese company being in America? I mean, obviously, was that a cultural challenge? Was that something you were used to? Tell me a little bit about that.
Not at all at Sony. They're for a Japanese company, they're quite forward thinking. And
that's code.
Or is that the agenda you pushed on them?
Yeah, that was code. Her saying they're very forward thinking, that's code for DEI. That's code for bridge. So yeah, that's her pushing. That's her saying they're very forward thinking because I'm pushing progressive DEI bridge ideologies into the company. This didn't happen organically.
That part was not an adjustment at all. And no issues there. An extremely respectful company. They've been, they've had American CEOs in their subsidiaries, American and British and Welsh. So they're very used to having American leadership.
What about the gaming industry? You sound like you obviously work with them as a client. You knew something about it, but obviously you had to get a lot deeper into that space. Is that something you really enjoy? Do you like playing games yourself? I mean, tell me a little about that.
I do, although I grew up, so the 3D game console generation came when I was just out of law school. So I didn't have a lot of time to console game, but I grew up playing arcade games.
Oh, she's not a gamer. She is not a gamer. Don't even fucking try to pretend like she is. She is not a gamer in the slightest.
Fake gamer. It's fake gamer.
Yep.
We need, once again, this is a problem. She doesn't play games. She hates games. She hates games. I played arcade game. What the fuck is that? She doesn't even play games. Fake gamer. Doesn't know anything about the actual product. If you are brought into if you're brought into a company, this makes me mad. If you're brought in a company, you should know about the product. At least know about the product. Knows nothing about the product.
Nope.
It's a complete joke. This is a joke.
Yeah. To her with Nintendo, All she knows is that Pokemon is is Nintendo's highest grossing product. And they will basically do everything in their power and destroy everyone that they can to protect this product. That's all she knows about Pokemon. She doesn't know a fucking thing about about the actual game.
It's a joke. You need someone who loves Pokemon, who knows Pokemon, who lives, sleeps, breathes, eats Pokemon, right? Nobody buys that. This is once again travesty.
Yeah. Wow. So we didn't really get into how she's destroying the company. I don't know. It's his other one about that is 21 minutes long. I don't know if well, okay. Chat, I'll tell you what. If you want, we can look at Andrew's fast facts about how the Pokemon chief legal officer is destroying the company. Because he put out that fast fact 16 hours ago. This video didn't really give us any insight into how she's destroying the company. So we'll do that. I don't know if I'm going to have much commentary in regards to it. Your dog, we just watched the brand new one. What we just watched was the brand new one. That was the one from 27 minutes ago that we just watched. The fast facts with the PP, he put out about 17 hours ago. Which I get, because that didn't tell us anything about how the company is being destroyed. So I'll tell you what, we'll look at his fast facts of how she is destroying the company. And then and I don't know how much I'll be able to react to it, considering what we just watched. I may be just listening like the rest of you guys. I don't know if I'll have too much to say. And then, so we'll do that, and then we can go on to one more video to close up the night. So let's take a look at the old one.
The Pokemon Company International has gone evil. We're going to get into today how the insane chief legal officer and their crazy policies of lawfare and DEI are destroying the company that we all love, that we all grew up with. They're destroying our childhood, and they are hell-bent on doing the absolute worst things. We have that all exposed today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney over here in Asia. And this has been really a crazy story. And the more you crack into it, the more we crack into it, the crazier it gets. Now, they thought we were going to go away after 1 day or 2 days. They thought the news cycle was going to blow over. Oh, no. The Pokemon International Company and their rabbit hole goes deep. And the corruption within this company and their entrenchment within the DEI industrial complex with all sorts of other lawfare is absolutely insane. It's nuts. And the more you look at this, the more there is to turn over. Now, I'm going to go through a long form interview in my live version. So if you want to see that, and it's really cool, you're going to need to watch the live version. But this is a fast facts video. It's meant to be the quick and dirty version of latest legal news. So we're going to keep it brief. We're going to keep it short. But if you like these shorter versions, you can like the video and you can comment below. So let's get right into today. Of course, I've got a PP. Of course, I've got a fresh one for you on Pokemon going evil. Now,
Gramps, I'm not
the first
sure.
thing is, of course, I want to do a little refresher on our campaign. Of course, this is Stop the Pokemon Company International. And we're also tagging the Japanese company tags. Once again, I'm going to say this several times, but it's very important to tag the Japanese company because we need to get the attention of Japan. Right now, the Japanese company is not aware of how crazy it's going in the United States. They don't really know. They don't really have close oversight in the organizational structure. They kind of just say, hey, you guys do your thing over there in America, but don't embarrass us. Well, they're embarrassing them. And we need to make it clear to the Japanese company and to the Japanese side of things that this is absolutely going the wrong way. We need to get their attention, and we need to make sure that they know what's going on. So we're going to engage in whatever behavior is necessary to get these things done. The requests are really simple. Settle the lawsuit with Power World, right? It's better to coexist than to legally destroy competition. They can both exist. There's no reason why they need to go and try to crush this company other than some zealous
Now, for clarification, this is still referring to the Pal World lawsuit, correct? This is still Nintendo trying to go after Pal World in regards to copyright infringement, correct? Okay. Just wanted to make sure there was that clarification.
Crazy attempt to control the entire genre, to control everything that even remotely looks like Pokemon at all. Also to cease the lawfare against the modding community. The precedent that they will set
It's worse.
will stop
Okay.
modding pretty much forever when it's applied to other cases. Once again, people who are defending Nintendo, that are defending this, they hyper focus on these specific patents and they get in the details and they start arguing, well, they filed it then, they filed it then. You're missing the point, right? You're missing the forest. You're looking at a tree. The point is, when you set case precedent, when you go to court and you get a ruling, that ruling is used in other ways, broader ways, beyond.
Oh, gosh. So what Nintendo is doing is trying to establish a case precedent that will basically eliminate the modding community for all games. That if Nintendo is successful in their lawsuit, they're basically seeking to establish case precedent, and if that case precedent exists, any game, if you attempt to mod any game, would be covered under this precedent. Wow. Honestly, like Gramps, you bring up a good point. I'm really surprised that we have not heard some very loud voices from companies like Bethesda calling out Nintendo and saying, what the fuck are you doing? We love the modders. And they might not actually say it, but modders are the ones that actually make their fucking games work. Leave us not forget, the modders are the ones that actually make Bethesda games work. Bethesda lately has been putting out shit games that don't work right, and the modding community comes in and is the ones to actually fix their games and make them work correctly. So I'm really surprised Bethesda has not come out and said, like, what the hell are you doing? No, Bethesda actually loves modders. That's why they have the Nexus. That's why Nexus mods exist. And like Bethesda can make money off that. So like they've actually encouraged the modding because they can actually make money off of it. So that's why I'm surprised Bethesda is not actually speaking up, because if Nintendo succeeds in establishing this case law or case precedent, then Bethesda could be like, this is actually part of our business. So what the fuck are you doing?
On just what that one little case says. So while you might have an argument pro Pokemon company, right? While you might be able to defend them, you need to understand that when we talk about cases, we're looking at the big picture. We're looking at the law, because as you see in the law, one little case can change everything, not just in the country, but in the world, because IP is global. These are considerations all around the world. These impacts are.
You're right, Seth. Now, Nexus is its own thing. I don't know why I thought I was rolling. That's why I probably thought Bethesda owned Nexus. No, you're right. Nexus is its own thing. But my point still stands, is that Bethesda games work because of the modders. And Bethesda relies upon the modders to make their games work and to extend the life of their games so people will continue to buy their games. The Creator Club. The Creator Club. Yes, you're a dog. I mixed up the two things. I said Nexus Mods. It should be, I meant to say Creator Club. Yeah, that's what Bethesda is. Creator Club, which is a modding community.
Massive for gaming, and it cannot be understated. I'm not understanding this at all whatsoever. They also need to cease the patent trolling behavior. They're engaging in registering overly broad patents in an attempt to control the genre. And what we really want them to do is go back to the original vision, go back to the vision of the creators, right? Go back to the original people. But what the normal Pokemon is doing, what the modern Pokemon is doing, is they are destroying the old Pokemon. They have made the original people, the original vision, they've destroyed it, they've perverted it, and they made them into villains. So we're going to show you, excuse me there, I need to get my water, but we're going to show you how they are tearing this company down and destroying everything we love. So I'm going to get into it real quick. What can we do? What's the strategy? Once again, the American branch has gone wild with litigation DI. The Japanese company is giving them almost no oversight. If you guys have listened to my coverage of Niji Sanji, the VTuber companies, very, very similar to what I've covered with those guys. As you saw with Niji Sanji, the blackest of black companies, right? They really didn't care. They really don't care about their overseas
company which shall not be named.
With many other VTuber companies, which are big Japanese corporations. Remember, there's a cultural aspect to this, and a lot of Japanese corporations operate like this. They're very hands-off with their branches. You see that here, in Asia, when there's, for example, the Japanese parent company and they have a subsidiary in another country, they often are very, very hands-off. They just say, hey, bring us the money and don't cause trouble, right? So what they said to them and what we know they said is, hey, don't embarrass us or the brand. Remember, they're publicity shy. That's something they said, their former counsel said themselves, right?
Well, I would argue it's not simply just being publicity shy. It's Japanese culture is there's a great deal of stock put into, what's the word I'm looking for? Presentation. How one presents themselves or how a company presents itself is very important to the individual and to the company. That is an intrinsic part of Japanese cultures. You want to be, you want to make sure you have a very positive looking face, that you are viewed by others in a positive light. If you are not viewed either personally or from a company perspective in a positive light, that is seen as, I don't want to say dishonorable, I don't want to take it to that level, but it is very strongly frowned upon to not be seen in a negative light. That's why you hear all the stories about, Japanese people where, if they pop off or something, they might immediately go, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to do that to make you think badly. It's like, why you're about, I don't want you to think badly of me. Like that kind of mentality is very important in Japanese culture, and it's important in business culture. So yeah, it's not Fashizi, not so much saving face. That's not it's I'm not saving face is like doing something like where you do something wrong and then you kind of backtrack it so you try not to look bad because of the thing you've done. They try not to look bad in the first place. They are very much about, I can't think of the word, but they're all about how they as an individual or company is presented. They want to be viewed in a positive light at all times, if at all possible. It's their image basically. You're right, Franklin's image. That's a bit flat in the terms of what I was thinking of. It's just I can't think of the proper descriptor, but yeah, it's basically their public facing image or even their personal image, like from an individual standpoint.
Which may have been a little bit of a barb at the current chief counsel. I can sense a little tension there, but what we must do is cause public embarrassment legally. Once again, I'm encouraging everybody, and let me be very, very clear about this. We need to engage in this campaign in a legal, peaceful way, in a way that's respectful, but legal, right? Memes are legal, right? Humor is legal. Parody is legal. Now, it's legal in America. So one of the big things here is that, we can make memes that are considered disrespectful to the Japanese in America. So under Japanese law, they might be defamation, right? But in America, they're called fair use and criticism, right? So under American law, God bless America, we need to go out there and create those memes. We need to go out there and just absolutely go for them, because that's the way we're going to get their attention. Because when the Japanese see these things, when they see the tags in Japanese, tagging the Japanese company, use the kanji, it'll be in the description below. That's when they're really going to wake up. That's when they're going to be like, what the hell is going on here? This is disrespectful. What's going on? Because they don't know. They're not paying attention. When they wake up,
Pat, I think it's entirely possible that she may be the reason why there's so many cease and desist letters. I'm guessing he might go into that a little bit.
When all of a sudden the Pokemon Company International and their boba liberal, insane activist, litigation crazy chief legal counsel, Jennifer, right? We're going to get into her in a second. When they find out about it, they're going to have some splaining to do. And they're really not going to have anything to explain for it. They're going to say, well, we thought suing everybody was great. We thought the strategy was amazing. We thought it was great. Well, we think DEI is great too. We think kicking kids out of card games is amazing. That's great for us, right? That's great for the Pokemon Company. That's what we want. And the Japanese are going to be like, what the fuck? Like, it's going to be epic, because that meeting is going to be the most uncomfortable thing ever. Trust me, I'm a corporate attorney. I've been general counsel. I've worked with big corporations. When these parent companies abroad find this out, there will be a reckoning in that boardroom. I do not.
And what's better is we know she is not like Japanese from Japan. She's Asian American, which means she's coming at it from the American mindset. So if she has to sit down with the bigwigs from Japan, she's going to be like, well, I'm an American. I'm going to think like an American. It's like, I believe in what we're doing. I strongly believe, because my beliefs are what's important here. And the Japanese are going to go, we do not care about your belief. You are fucking our company. That is unacceptable. She doesn't know that when the head of the company approaches you from Japan and says, what the fuck, that your response should be, oh shit, I've done fucked up. I'm so sorry, sir. What can I do to make this right? So she's not going to have that mentality.
I want to be a fly on the wall on that call. That is going to be so awkward. And let's make it awkward for them, because they've decided to engage in this campaign of bullying the little guy, of picking on the small company. They thought they could pick on Power World and beat up on them. They thought they can beat up on modders. They thought they can beat up.
Well, Mike, the Yakuza don't exist anymore. The Yakuza have gone the way of the dodo. The Yakuza are nothing more than basically attractions at this point. There is no Yakuza, unfortunately.
On the freaking Super Mario supermarket in Costa Rica. Yes, that's a real thing. Yes, that's a real thing. They did that. That's insane, crazy litigation. So what we got to do especially is go after the sacred Pokemon execs, especially the Japanese ones, because by memeing them, once again, these are friendly memes. They're under US law. We find it friendly.
Yeah,
they find it disrespectful culturally, right? Once again, you have to understand Japanese culture here. Anybody who's really in Japan or been to Japan, like I have, like many of my friends who live there, know this is the way. This is the way to do it. You got to poke them where they're sensitive just to wake them up. Once again, we just want to wake them up. And once they're woken up, once the problem is fixed, we'll go back to being super respectful. We'll go back to being cool. We'll go back to making good games and fair criticism. But for now, we got to meme them. So what do? We engage in fair use criticism under American law. We have videos criticizing them. We have memes. One of the big targets, I think, that you guys can go for, create memes and everything else, is Tsunekaze Ishihara. That's going to really get under their skin. We got to paint him as the Giovanni or the Gary, right? He's got to be the top villain here in all of the memes, because that's going to wake the Japanese up. Tagging that.
Black means allow me.
You are made of stupid.
I'm afraid all we have done is awaken the sleeping giant, Officer Jenny.
Except she doesn't know that yet. She's too stupid to realize what she's done.
And on X, tagging that on Twitter, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, everywhere else, every single platform. We got to be making memes out here until they ask what the heck is going on. The other thing you can do is contact your political representatives. This is very, very important, because a lot of what's going on here with patents needs to be stopped. You need to call them up and say, what the hell is the Pokemon Company International doing with their patents? Why are these getting rubber stamped? What's going on in the patent office? Hey, we need an investigation in the patent office. Can you guys look into the patent office and see what the hell is going over there? Who is approving these patents? Why were they doing this? There needs to be a check on these people. There needs to be some accountability. And your political representatives can do that. Call them up. Give them a call. Remember to get on the phone. That's the most effective way. You can also send a letter. You can write them. You can go see them. But calling is super effective with getting your political representatives. Use these specific tags. Remember, this is a big one. I still see you guys out there using Nintendo. You cannot use Nintendo. Nintendo is used to haters. Nintendo owns a large share, 32% of the Pokemon company. And it is relevant. We're going to get into the change there that's happening at Nintendo that just got announced today. Once again, Nintendo does have a large share, but the tag that's going to annoy them is the Pokemon Company International, specifically this Japanese kanji right here. This is the name in Japanese. This is Japanese kanji, right? This is a name romanized, right? So you can use both if you want to. You can copy paste both. You can copy paste all three, but make sure you're using this one. And if any Japanese speakers are out there, any Chads out there that know Japanese, make posts in Japanese, get the Japanese audience out there. I'm going to have a Japanese translation of one of my original videos out there so that the Japanese can know. I'm paying some good money for that one. But we need to let the Japanese know, because the Japanese don't know. We got to keep it up for over a week. They think it's going to die down in a few days. They're going to break. I have enough. I'll tell you right now, I have enough content to keep this going for a while. And if they don't know about LawTube and don't know about what we do and haven't seen my coverage of Johnny Somali or Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, oh, baby, we can keep it up for days. I can keep my PP up for days.
Raising. Are we not doing phrasing anymore? God damn it.
You can count on that. Hold on. I got a new reaction that may go with objection. Hope you guys like that one. But anyways, we're going to be able to keep this up for a while. I'm going to keep this going. I'm not going to stop till there's some change, till there's some action here, or until I get a cease and desist, whatever comes first, right? But if they do, I'll publicize that, and I'll make sure to make it very, very clear that they're trying to shut down fair use and criticism. So have fun with that either way. Once again, LawTube profits either way. We all profit either way. They can strike one of us down, but we will rise. We will become stronger. We will multiply, right? This is what happens, right? When you
we are legion.
Mess around like this.
Yeah.
So let's get into they hate kids, right? There's a teen who laughed, who was laughed at. A teen who laughed when asked for preferred pronouns was kicked out of a Pokemon card tournament. This is part of their DEI. And
and this was an official Pokemon tournament. This was not just some at your local card shop, a minor thing. This was actually a Pokemon affiliated card tournament. And when one of the people from the tournament asked him what his preferred pronouns were, he kind of laughed, and they literally booted him out and said, "You're done." And bearing in mind, it was like a nervous laugh. It wasn't even a mocking laugh. It was he laughed nervously. They booted him out, and he had to pay money to compete in this tournament, mind you. He had to pay an entry fee, and he had to pay travel fees to get there. But Seb, that's it. He just had nervous laughter. Cause this is a kid. Okay, this was a young teen. I want to say he was 12 or 13, maybe slightly older. And he wasn't it was a question he was not expecting to get asked. And so he made a nervous laugh, and they kicked him out. And so he was out his entry fee and his travel costs. And it was this was a fucking shitstorm about it. And nothing ever happened. They never didn't. I don't believe Pokemon ever made right by this kid either. I think they just said, "Fuck it, you're out of here," and sucks to be you. And they kept his money, I think.
Other ESG DI initiative. They cannot tolerate anybody who doesn't accept their religion. And forcing a child to accept your religion of pronouns is not okay. There are many people of different religions, ethnicities, whatever else, that do not acknowledge the use of whatever other pronouns, or don't even acknowledge that. Maybe they don't even use pronouns, right? So when you get asked that and you just laugh about it, okay, that's reasonable. In fact, that's even discriminatory against somebody who might not believe in that or might not carry that belief.
And therein lies the crux of it. Is the people that are all about inclusivity, hence why they were asking, what are your preferred pronouns? They're all about inclusivity. But if you don't accept their ideology, you are excluded, as was the case with this. Because they perceived him as not being inclusive, they excluded him and thus basically tanked their whole ideology of we are the people of inclusivity. And basically proved that they're liars and that they don't actually give a fuck about inclusivity. They only care about domination, and not in the fun way.
Just laughed. They didn't hurl out a racial slur. They didn't hurl out anything else. They just laughed. That's it. And they were kicked out of the Pokemon card tournament. And let me read the story here so you guys know I'm not making this up.
Here we go.
It's in Charlotte. A teenager who plays Pokemon trading card game, TCG. Remember, this is very similar to like MTG, Wizards of the Coast. I used to play MTG semi-competitively. My ELO score isn't great, but I did all right. I really just like burn. I like to get through it quickly. But anyways. So this guy was playing at a high competitive level and was disqualified after he laughed when he was asked his pronouns. Makani Tran was out $800, a couple of flights, and missed school time after he offended a non-binary judge, cutting his tournament run short.
I didn't know that it was a non-binary judge. This part I didn't know about. You have got to be fucking kidding me with this bullshit. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. These are the fucking activist freaks that will demand you bow to their whim and kiss their ring, and if you don't, they will basically try to disappear you in some fashion or another. So basically, you had an activist as a judge, great sign right there for in the first place, who, because this kid did not instantaneously bow and scrape because he was nervous, he got booted out and they took his money. So they booted him out, but they were happy to keep his money.
For a bizarre reason. The teenager said he never meant to offend anyone and was close to tears when disqualified. Literally, the guy's it's a teenager. You're picking on a child. You have a judge who's supposed to be neutral, right? Judges are supposed to be neutral. But instead, they have these DEI, ESG approved judges that are out here kicking out children because they refuse to accept their religion, right? And once again, the religion of you are required to have pronouns, right? That is not something everybody has to accept. And let me be very clear about this. If you want to use alternative pronouns in your regular life, you tell all your friends, do whatever you want, that's your right. You can do that, right? My issue is compelled speech. My issue has always been compelled.
Yes. And this is what I have always said. I do not fucking care what you personally identify, have in terms of personal identification. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're trans. I have issues with non-binary, but whatever, you do you. And then there's like a whole bunch of the others in the alphabet that we're not even going to get into. The problem comes when you try to cram the ideology down other people's throats. When you basically go the route of you will accept this or I will end you. And they will cram the ideology down your throat. And if you're like, no, I don't fucking think so, then all of a sudden you are labeled as an istophobe, and these people will attempt to destroy your life in every way possible. And in this case, they literally stole. They literally stole. This is stealing. They literally stole $800. No giggle figures. No. No. You know how I feel about that. No. There is trans people, they're a hot button issue right now, but that's because of the extremely loud activists. Okay, that's all the people that are shouting in megaphones. The vast majority of trans people want to just be normal, regular people. Normal, regular people, not the activists. Normal, regular trans people hate what the activists are doing because the activists are making these normal people, it's making their lives hell because they don't want to try and cram ideology down anybody's throats. They don't want to get in people's face and say, you must accept who I am. They want to live normal lives. You're referring to their movement. Okay. Oh, so giggle fingers and okay. But we need to be clear about that because when you refer to LGBT, you're referring to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans people, as in you're just referring to the individuals. I don't view the acronym of LGBT to refer to the movement in and of itself. Okay, you are referring to the movement or the activism, in which case, yes. Fascism, I don't think they happen, but that's neither here nor there. That's going way outside the realm, and we're not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But yes, okay, so giggle figures, we are in agreement that it is the activism that we have a problem with, not the average everyday people that happen to be trans and just want to live normal lives and not shove anything in anybody's face. I think I believe it sounds like we are probably, oh my goodness, excuse me. I believe we're in agreement with that. Okay, fair enough.
Compelled speech. Compelled speech is wrong. It's un-American, and it should not be done anywhere, any place, anytime. That is a DI ESG thing, right? That's it. That's all. This, and mind you, this was not an instance where this teenager like misgendered the judge, right? The judge had a plaque that said, call me they, them. And they called it, they called him it or something like that. That wasn't what happened here, right? They just laughed at the question. That's a much different issue. That's much different. So he even said he was facing off against one of the U.S.'s best players, Alex Shiminsky, and had nerves laughing awkwardly. So literally, this is you're laughing at an awkward teenager who's in a high pressure situation. And trust me, I know. I've been in these tournaments. I've gotten to the playoffs, like to the knockout rounds, right? After the general pop is out and you're in the knockouts. It's tense. You're really worried because there's a lot of money on the line. There's status on the line. It's a big thing. So the fact that you laugh nervously at that and they kick you out, talk about snowflake of snowflakes of snowflake. That is uber DEI. And the fact is they haven't
and stole his money. They not only kicked him out, they stole his money. They kept his entry fee and he still had to pay for all the travel stuff. So they literally stole his money in addition to kicking him out for literally nothing. Because some DEI cunt got offended because a kid made a nervous laugh when asked about his pronouns because it was a question he probably was never in a million years expecting. Like, fuck that judge. Fuck them in the ass with the bad dragon.
back down from that. They've only doubled down from that, particularly under their new chief general counsel, or rather their chief legal officer, Jennifer. We're going to get into Jennifer in a second. So here's another one that you guys know. Pokemon sues fans to block a Pokemon party on the eve of the PAX convention in Seattle. It's happened in 2015. So literally these were fans that just wanted to run a Pokemon tournament. A Pokemon event, right? They just wanted to have some themed shots, dancing, giveaways, cosplay. But can fans have nice things under this Pokemon, authoritarian Pokemon regime? No, they cannot. Fans cannot have fun. Fans are not allowed to have fun because the poster had Pikachu and Snivy. I'll show the next one. Pikachu's image was also used to promote it. So because of this poster here, once again, this is for legal, educational, fair use purposes. I'm showing this to educate, right? It's fair use. It's very fair use. The Pokemon Company International, Kabushiki Gaisha Pokemon. This is the Japanese name right there. Kabushiki Gaisha Pokemon. They hate fans. They hate fun. They hate free events, right? No cover all night with DJ Dirty. DJ Dirty Bit. I want to get down with DJ Dirty Bit.
Yes.
To have a little reaction there. It sounds like a fun event, but we can't have fun at Pokemon. No. Thanks to who? Jennifer Leo. And I may be mispronouncing her last name, which, Jennifer.
Now this is starting to make sense. Based on the video we just saw, this is making sense because all she is a litigator. That because all she knows how to be is a litigator. She didn't view that, like, she didn't look at this and go, this is actually fantastic fucking promotion for Pokemon. No, she saw somebody was using our characters. We must have an iron grip. No one can use these characters without our permission. Otherwise, we will sue them into oblivion. They must be destroyed. Because she only knows litigation. And she's a fake gamer.
No offense, Leo or Leo, whatever. I'm gonna call her Jen. We'll call her Jen. We're gonna talk to Miss Jen over here, right? Jenny. We'll call her Jenny, right? Jenny. These people, and we knew this during the Kirk incident, they put way too much on LinkedIn. And it just so turns out, Shock Pikachu can confirm, she's the current chief legal officer at LinkedIn. These people expose themselves left and right. So did a little bit of looking around here. Oh, look at this. Shock Pikachu. She worked at Sony. Another giga woke DEI company. All the other gaming channels, all the other people out there are going to be able to back me up on this one. They are absolutely one of the worst of the worst of the worst offenders. So not surprised there. Not surprised there at all. And I listened to an interview, which I will give in my full form. It's going to be a very long stream. I'm going to go through it all. I went through what she did and who she is. So here's the big thing about her that you guys need to know. She started her career as an activist, and she virtue signaled, and this is a kind of code talk. You can watch the interview. I'll try to post the link below. They may try to take it down because they're going to be scared of it being exposed. But what they do to virtue signal is they start by talking about their activism. Now, she talks about experiencing racism at a fraternity during college. And let me be very clear. I'm very much against racism and very sympathetic to that. One of my very, very close friends in Korea, the head of an Asian sorority over there in Texas, would tell me, hey, no, this stuff does happen. And I'm very sympathetic to that. And I think this should be corrected. People should be punished when they go through that. But the key here is, why would you lead with that as your purpose for getting into law? That is a virtue signal. That is a code speak for saying, I am an activist.
And as we may remember, the racism that she was so deeply offended by in college is at that frat party, someone supposedly used a racial slur. That's it. Somebody at a frat party that someone from her Asian culture, her Asian coalition group went to a frat party, and someone at that frat party supposedly used a racial slur of some sort. And that was literally the extent of the quote unquote racism. That was it. And she jumped onto her high fucking horse and said, I must defend my oppressed brothers and sisters.
Activist. I'm an activist first and foremost. I am on team activist, right? That is her getting that message out there. So that's how she led the interview. She also goes into, and there's a lot of other details, but one of the very important things is she was heavy in litigation. All she did was she eats, sleeps, and drinks litigation. This is a litigation. I've never met a lawyer that is more litigation hungry than Jenny. And not only that, but she says that her top qualification for the lawyer she hires is litigation experience, not transactional experience. That is insane. As a person who's worked as a general counsel, right? As associate general counsel, I've worked with general counsel. That is nuts. You want general counsel that is transactional. Why the hell are you hiring a litigator as your chief general counsel? That is nuts. You need somebody who puts business first. That's transactional lawyers. The difference is, guys, litigation attorneys live and breathe inside the courtroom. Transactional attorneys are attorneys like myself and many others that are the quiet behind the scenes attorneys that you don't normally see, because you know what we do? We generate win-wins for company. We generate business. We make deals. We make contracts. We make things happen. That's not what Jennifer does. Or Jenny. Sorry, Jenny. That's not what Jenny does. What Jenny does is destroy people. What Jenny does is sue supermarkets in Costa Rica. What she does is sue, kick kids out of events. What she does is go after people that you don't need to go after. She starts in these campaigns, launches in these insane crusades that are unnecessary for the company. It is completely unnecessary for the company from a business standpoint. It is a business loss. You are losing money by investing so heavily in litigation. You are losing money. Whenever you sue, you are losing money. You're not making money. Nobody is like net winning off of that. Even if you win your little IP, your petty IP battle, you've lost so much in legal fees. And more than that, you've lost good favor, you lost good marketing, and you become the villain. Congratulations, Jenny. I hope you're happy you become the villain. Right. So once again, you see, this is a boba liberal type, never been outside their gated community, never seen, hey, this is what gamers are. This is what they're doing. This is what they want. They're not giving the gamers. She's not giving the gamers what they want. She doesn't know Pokemon as deeply as the people that love the product.
And she's not giving gamers what they want because she's not a gamer. They have put someone in the position of chief legal counsel who has no fucking idea what the product is she's defending, has no concept of the game itself, has no concept of the culture surrounding it, has no idea how that culture, when fostered properly, can actually promote the game that you are supposedly defending even further. How the gaming culture is what is responsible for the game's success. If you don't have this gaming culture, the game itself will not be successful. Were it not for the massive cultural following that is Pokemon, it would not be the monster conglomerate that it is today. But she doesn't know that. She doesn't care about that because she's not a gamer and she doesn't even know, understand, or care about the product itself that she is supposedly legally defending.
Understand the people modding, the people out there who are contributing to this. And that's a big problem. That's a huge problem. With Jenny. No, a little bit of extra here. So this is Sutaro Furukawa. Now, some people, by the way, some people are trying to say that I don't know the Nintendo structure. No, I know. Nintendo owns a portion of the Pokemon company, right? There's a Pokemon company in Japan and a subsidiary in America, right? The subsidiary in America is in Washington. They're very heavy DEI, super giga woke, right? This guy's over here in Japan with Nintendo, right? So he's controlling Nintendo Japan. Their subsidiaries, Nintendo in America. So what you got here, what do you got right here? You got Devin Pritchard coming in. She's just going to be in for Nintendo of America. Now, once again, not direct relationship to Pokemon International Company. Of course, they all have each other's phone numbers. They all can call each other, right? But it looks like we're going to get more DEI and whatnot at Nintendo Company of America. So once again, if this is the type of thing you want to see these companies torn apart, you want to see lawfare, this is what's going to happen at the company. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Okay. So yeah, that explained it a little bit better. Guys, this is no longer the Nintendo that you know and love. Unfortunately.